Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey Hallmarkies, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, and today I'm excited to have a very special guest on the podcast, Samantha Herman. Samantha is a producer, a filmmaker, a lawyer, and a screenwriter. Hallmarkies will recognize her work, which include such features as Mingle All The Way, Small Town Christmas, Sensibility and Snowmen, Angel Falls, A Novel Holiday, A Fabled Holiday, Game of Love, Spring Breakthrough, and her upcoming Christmas rom-com, Christmas Island. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to have you on, and I know the listeners will be looking forward to this interview. So let's jump right in.
Sure.
I have to ask, how do you go from lawyer to screenwriter?
I always wanted to do the writing, but I thought I needed to have a practical skill set. So that was always my secret aim. Writing contracts is still writing. It's a drier form, but it was always, in the space of words and drafting and communicating. So, but how I actually transitioned is I was working on my first movie while I was in law school, and that was a DIY production that I did back in Canada called Let's Rap. So it was pre-Hallmark.
That's awesome. Would you say that your law background gave you an industry edge?
A little bit, especially before I had representation. I could look at the contracts that I was receiving and understand them and negotiate and just understand the business side of the show business, probably with a little more ease than if I didn't have that background.
That's understandable. Yeah. And it's always good to have, I guess, a business perspective for a career like this.
For sure.
When you were growing up, did you ever imagine that you would be in this industry?
I only imagined being in this industry. I had a one-track mind. I love movies and TV and books, and I'm an indoor person. I'm not sporty. Not. I have no other interest. So this is all I was really focused on. Once I learned that making movies and TV was a job that people did, I didn't know exactly in what way I wanted to do it, but I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, I've always been interested in film and TV as well. And then for me, I was also into sports. So I had a little bit of both. I took film classes in high school and college. And then in high school, I was a cheerleader, and then I was on the golf team.
Oh, so you had a lot going on. I like sports movies. That was
Yeah,
my.
I love sports movies too. What's your favorite sports movie that you've seen?
Seen them all. Field of Dreams, because it makes me cry every time.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever seen that.
You got it. It's a must. It's in the baseball world. Kevin Costner, perfection. It's
Love
not
baseball. Yeah.
sports related.
Yeah.
And Rocky, if that counts.
I've seen Rocky. It's been a long time, but I've seen Rocky. Yeah.
All the Rockies. And
Yeah.
for a bit of fun, Major League.
I don't think I've ever seen that one either.
I do. Baseball, Charlie
I need
Sheen.
to. Yeah.
Choice.
I think one that I love and remember seeing is The Rookie, I think, with Dennis Quaid. That's a good one. That's another baseball movie.
I think baseball is overall has the best movie, like proportionately to the other sports.
Yes, I agree. What would you say is your biggest success, and what is your biggest fail?
Boy. Uh just in like a philosophical way, I think my biggest success has been forcing myself to be more assertive and more of a networker and more of a mingler, because that's really so much of the battle of getting anything accomplished in this industry. So I was a shy person growing up, and that it's not going to cut it in this biz. So that's just kind of the overall. And then Mingle All The Way, just getting that off the ground and being able to write the whole thing, which we can come back to, to get my start in that way. That was a huge win and changed my whole life. And my biggest fail, let's see, there's so many. Just truck going by. Just at the beginning, undervaluing myself and what I can do and be capable of, and just not seeing that right away. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the success of learning how to be more assertive.
Yeah, I'm a little like that too. Like a couple years ago, I never would have imagined I would be starting a podcast. I mean, if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would be like, no, no way am I going to start a podcast.
Get
Because I
it.
used to be very shy and reserved too.
It's good to, I think it's a nice thing to be when you're younger, because then you like blossom out of that shell. It's a good
Yeah.
transition, good
Yes. And I love
evolution.
talking to people as well and meeting new people, making new friends.
Exactly. And it's so much of, not just in the film industry, but I think in everywhere, it's all relationship driven.
Yes. Agreed. What is your favorite part of a typical workday?
Completing my goal of the day, and like I did it, because it's, daunting when you have a whole movie
Yeah.
in front of you. So
Yeah.
I usually have a goal, a weekly goal, and then a daily goal of pages or scenes or whatever makes sense for me in that day. And just if I hit it, that feels good.
Yeah. It's always good to have goals for day to day and then week by week and month by month.
Yeah. And just the mini goals make it more achievable.
Yeah.
Just one step at a time.
Yes. Going into your Hallmark work, I know a little bit of the story from another podcast, but could you share with my listeners how you got started with the network?
Sure. So it was kind of a random, circuitous road. I wrote what became Mingle All The Way on spec, which means I just wrote on my own time. There was no one expecting it or had commissioned it, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. I didn't really have contacts in the space. So I was trying to put out feelers and just naively navigating the terrain unsuccessfully. And then I happened to go to Sundance, the film festival, in January. I think that was 2017. I'd gone for a few years, and my traveling companion, who's an actor named Adam, he knew another actor friend that we bumped into, and their friend was Jen Lilly.
Oh,
So
that's
we
awesome.
happened to, yeah, intersect at a party, and she had just done her first Hallmark movie. It hadn't aired yet, but I'd seen the ad, so I was aware of it, and I knew her from daytime. I'm a daytime junkie.
Yes.
And so I was just chatting with her about my project, not with an agenda, not with an expectation that anything would come of it. It was just a conversation and something that we shared. And luckily, she just, for whatever reason, it sparked her interest, and she asked if
Oh,
she could read it. And she did. She liked it. And so she got it in the hands of her producer. And then that producer got it in the hands of the network. And this is all, taking many weeks and months in between all the stages. But fortunately, the network enjoyed it. And so they acquired the script, but then we basically dismantled it and restarted it under their protocol and under their parameters. I didn't know about the commercial breaks. I just didn't know the particulars of the format and, the brand awareness that I needed to have. So they saw enough promise in that script to give me a shot at doing it over with them.
oh, that's amazing. I love that story. And Hallmarkies are glad that you are part of the Hallmark family, I guess.
Thank you. It's a good place to
Oh,
be. Good fam.
yes. Yes, Hallmark is a great network.
And they just luckily thought I did a good enough job that they've asked me back or allowed me to pitch or uh, rewrite, or not everything goes forward, but it's been an open space to come in with my ideas. So
Yes.
I'm very grateful to them.
You're a great writer, and I've enjoyed all of your movies I've seen. Speaking of Mingle All the Way with one of my favorites, Jen Lilly, what inspired that story?
Oh man, this is all taking me back. It's been a while. I was not dating successfully. I mean, that's like the cruel irony of my life, is that I'm very lucky in love on the page and just a disaster for dating in real life. And that has not changed, but that was still at the time when I was working on the idea. And I thought a dating app for people who don't actually want someone but need a companion makes sense. I would want that for me. And that's
Same.
what sparked the genesis of that one.
Many of our listeners are fans of Seinfeld Delivered, When Calls the Heart, and Good Witch, so they know of Benjamin Hollingsworth, Kimberly Sustad, Aaron Krakow, and Sarah Power. What's it like working with those actors, and do they get your vibe, or does the director hit you with a ton of rewrites?
First of all, I very rarely go to set. So I have not met all those people. I've met Ben and I've met Erin, but not on set. I met her at an event.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish going forward that will change and I can go there and like be a part of it and, bear witness to it coming to life and be, helpful if I'm needed. So yeah, it's kind of a disconnect between the script and the finished product. So it's hard for me to answer that question. I get communications from the director to tweak, but it's usually still in the pre-production phase.
That's totally okay. I know that not all screenwriters get to be on set as much, which is unfortunate.
Yes, I feel like that should be something to look at going forward.
Yes.
I can start going
Hopefully.
often. Yeah, and I've been to a few, but like for a
Yeah.
few days, and it's always fun. But it's always like, whose cousin are you? Who are you visiting? Like, no, I'm part of it too. But no beef, and I think the actors have all done a great job.
Yeah.
I just wish I could, just be there, just for even like the socializing of it.
Yeah. Hopefully in the future you'll get to be on set more. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in the pandemic, that
Yeah.
wasn't because we weren't,
Yeah.
required, so it was a limited production.
I really enjoyed your Christmas movie from last year, A Fabled Holiday, and was intrigued by the concept. What was the inspiration behind it? And do you have a favorite storybook from when you were growing up?
Oh man. So that one actually was a collab. So there were two writers and it was her idea. And so I can't take credit for the premise. I was just part of the execution of it. So the Dolan Dix is the other writer's name. And so I give her full credit for the idea there. Just had to make it hit the brand a little more. My favorite, I don't know if it counts, but I was a Velveteen Rabbit gal.
I loved that growing up. Yep. I remember that one. I think we still have our copy at
Nice.
home.
I've got mine somewhere. Maybe it's at my mom's house.
Before we get into your new Christmas movie, you've written a lot of Christmas movies, so I'm guessing you are a big fan of the holiday season. What is your personal favorite holiday memory?
So I'm Jewish, so my expression of Christmas is watching these movies. That's how I've been celebrating it. I've rarely done a proper Christmas myself, so it's also kind of an irony. But I do love all the things. I love, like, we would be invited to other friends' homes and do the tree trimming and the hot chocolating. I've never caroled in real life. I've
I
put it
don't
into
think
a
I
lot
have
of
either.
movies. I'm really bad at ice skating, put it into a lot of movies. But I like the tree
Yeah.
and I like the movies. Like I watch Home Alone every year. And
Yeah.
before I got into it, it was no accident that I got into this space creatively.
Home Alone is great. That movie always makes me laugh.
Oh yeah. And cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Elf, that's a good one. And I'm trying to remember Polar Express, The Santa Claus.
Good. I was looking at the list this year. I watch all the Hallmarks and then all the
Yeah,
other
me too.
like, man, how am I going to keep up? I'll do my best.
I know it's hard to keep up with all the Hallmark movies, but I try to watch all of them
Yeah. I
if
got the
possible.
check mark on the app.
Me too.
It starts
So,
next week. So it's crazy.
I know. Christmas starts next week for all the Hallmark.
Not even Halloween.
No. Going into Christmas Island, without giving away any spoilers, tell us a little bit about the movie.
Look, Christmas Island, it's the first movie that I've worked on that's actually set in my Canadian homeland. So that was exciting for me. That was one of the things I was interested in. It was greenlit as a concept, and then I came in to execute. So it's about a pilot who wants to get into the private pilot space, and she gets her first gig with a wealthy family who's going from North America over to Europe for their Christmas vacation. A storm is a brewing, and the flight gets grounded because of an overly cautious air traffic controller on the horn with the pilot. And as you might guess, the air traffic controller lives in the small town in which the family and pilot are grounded, Christmas Island. And she's concerned that she's ruined their vacation. And so she commits to making sure they have a great Christmas experience despite being in the wrong location. And spoiler, a flirtation may or may not ensue.
May or may not.
Okay, yeah.
I love that. I'm really excited to see it. And Andrew is one of my favorites. And Rachel is great too.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either, so I'm excited as well.
I'm sure it'll be great and definitely a hit for 2023.
Yeah, I haven't met Rachel, but I know Andrew. We've got something percolating for next year, a non-Christmas. So he's really fun to work with.
Yes. And I met him at a fan convention last year, Rama Drama. So kind, so down to earth.
I want to go to that. I want to be a panelist or something on it.
You should.
Yeah.
Hallmarkies, let's petition for that next year.
I'll be there. Because I follow, I see it on social media and I'm like, dang, that looks fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And the setting and the atmosphere is really great. Nice. It's a small kind of atmosphere. Everyone feels like a family, which is really nice.
It's a robust fan community. I mean, I knew that I was a fan of Hallmark movies, so I knew there had to be others like me out there, but I didn't realize it until I got into the space professionally and followed on Twitter, and I'm in some Facebook groups just to see what hits and what doesn't. And yeah, it's a frenzied crowd and I love it.
Yes. I have to say the Hallmark writers and actors, like all the Hallmark talent, some of the nicest people I've ever met in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's nice to see.
Who's like, this is such a kind facing network.
Yeah.
What's it really like? What's the dark underbelly beneath? And that has not revealed itself to me. It's always been a very pleasant experience with execs, everybody.
Yeah. And it's very rare these days. So it's really refreshing to see that.
Yeah.
From Hallmark. What is your favorite scene in the movie that you can share without giving too much away?
Good question. Well, I haven't seen it, but assuming it plays out the way I think it plays out, I think the ending, I think it's going to be satisfying.
I can't wait to see it. For anyone whose first introduction to your work is Christmas Island, what do you hope they come away with after seeing this film?
Such a dark time in this world that I just want to spread joy and make people happy. And this one has a bit more humor, so hopefully people come away with a laugh. If anyone just walks away happy after the movie, that's all I could ask for.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah. I think it's going to be great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of all the Hallmark films you've written, what is your favorite?
I love them all, and it's hard to choose. They're all like my little babies, but Mingle, because it was the first one. And I learned so much during that process. And I did get to go to that set and felt like really enveloped and welcomed. Not that I wasn't in the future, but it was just like a great starter experience. And it's the crown jewel of my collection.
That's awesome. I love Mingle All The Way. It's a very cute film. And the chemistry between Jen and Brant is great.
Yeah. I had Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman, and we got to just revise a scene together on the set. And like, this is, if I could tell myself when I was 12 that this was going to happen, I wouldn't make it because I would have dropped dead from joy.
Yes. And Ava Grace Cooper, who is in When Calls the Heart, the Hardys know her. And I know she was in that movie as well. Love seeing her.
Right.
Are you working on anything new for Hallmark besides the movie with Andrew that you mentioned?
Yeah, so I've got that one with Andrew, which is in the royal space. Yes. And then I had another Christmas movie for this season that got delayed because of the strike. So that one is going to revive in a few weeks, and that is Ireland set for Christmas. And also leaning towards the comedy in that one, which I'm excited about. And then I have another one that I hope is still alive and well post-strike, about a bar mitzvah.
That should be interesting too. I love the diversity that Hallmark is bringing.
So I got those 3 on the go, and I'm going to pitch a few more ideas this afternoon for next year and see what hits.
I can't wait to see what you do next. I know it'll be great. How about any other projects outside of Hallmark?
Yeah, so I did my strike spec, which was we were allowed to work on things that were not belonging to anyone, belonging to any producer. So that is my YA teen time travel passion project. So I'm hoping with its equal parts time travel and rom-com. So I'm hoping to get that one off the ground as soon as possible.
I can't wait to see that. I love a lot of the time travel movies and shows. Like one of my favorite time travel shows is Timeless. It's not on the air anymore, but that was a great one.
But yeah, Back to the Future is my favorite movie.
Back to the Future. Yep.
I love a time travel trope, and I love a body swap. So I'm going to see if I can get a body swap movie going. It's one of my next ventures.
That would be great. I love well, this isn't necessarily a body swap, but I love the Parent Trap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Classic rom-com.
Yes.
Many times writers will find a way to put themselves into a bit part in their screenplays. For instance, 80s TV cop drama writer Stephen J. Cannell would often create a small part for himself in various episodes. Have you ever wanted to play an acting part in any of your screenplays?
I've seen myself try acting, and it's not my forte, but you can see part of my face in Love Under the Olive Tree. I'm there in the crowd. So I've not given myself a speaking part, but if they'll like throw me into a group scene, I'll go and stand with the group. But yeah, maybe that should be one of my new ideas, writing myself a bit part. I could be like barista.
Yeah. I'd love to see that in the future. So my dad has a master's degree in screenwriting from the University of Georgia. He wants to know, what is your preferred screenwriting software? Final Draft, Fade In, Celtics, or Arc?
I use Final Draft because it was just the thing that seemed to be the common one, and I'm not very good with computers, so I learned that one, and now I'm committed to it. And also, just when you send the files, that seems to be the industry standard to share back and forth without having to transfer. So that's my main one.
Yeah, I've heard Final Draft is great, and my dad and I are actually working on a movie we want to pitch to Hallmark.
Okay. What is he like? Is he a Final Draft guy?
I think so. If I remember correctly, I think he does use Final Draft.
Just make it simple.
Yes, agreed. As simple as possible.
Yeah.
Before we close out, I have a segment here on the podcast where I ask my guest to share an inspiring quote or piece of advice. Do you have an inspiring quote or a piece of advice you've received?
My grandmother, who's late grandmother, was very persistent, and she taught me that perseverance pays off. And if you believe in yourself and just keep trying, that's so much of the battle for whatever your aspirations are. So stick with it, persevere. If you really believe, you have to keep trying.
Yes, that's very true and great advice. Well, this was so much fun, Samantha. Thank you for joining me. I love chatting with you today.
Thank you so much. And I hope you and your listeners enjoy the movie, and can tweet or Instagram message me if you don't, and I'll do it better next year.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure that we will all love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good weekend.
Yes. All right, Hallmarkies, I think that wraps up my interview with Samantha Herman. If you enjoyed this interview, you can like this video, and if you want to see more of my episodes and stay up to date, you can subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Love y'all. Bye.